Hello guys, Super711 here and welcome back finally on my 5th episode of my Rainbow Six 3 Ravenshield campaign walkthrough. So let's just start, shall we? Also, first of all, sorry for not posting anything this month, but life got in the way. So yeah, sorry about that, and hopefully we will resume our normal schedule soon. Regarding the mission for today, we've reached the 5th mission of our campaign, Operation Falcon. The premises are that a secret drug busting operation orchestrated by US and British agents in the Cayman Brac has been compromised in a local private airport. The drug dealers discovered the operation and immediately opened fire on the US and British agents, killing or injuring several of them. The remaining ones have been captured and are now hostages of the drug dealers, who threat to execute them. The demands are not met, of course. What we know about these guys is that the situation got critical at a small private airport in the Cayman Brac, and that the local police knows well this place. In the past, it has been a major crossroad for rich and wealthy people, in fact, and at the same time for drug and shady meetings. The DEA, together with British agents, organized a drug-busting operation in the region to combat this distribution hub, and the joint team traveled to this private airport in the Caymans to pursue their targets. But from then onwards, as we all know, the situation went wrong, as the drug dealers discovered the operation and opened fire on them. They must have been tipped off by someone though, as they seemed already conscious of what was going on even before the trading began. The drug dealers killed or wounded most of the agents, and those lucky of being still alive were taken hostages by the bad guys, as we already said. The local police, thankfully and luckily, immediately blocked the airport, especially the runway, by establishing a perimeter around the complex to prevent an escape. So at least this is a good piece of news. Also, it seems that once more we have yet another hostage situation in our hands. But this time we're after a complete squad of drug dealers instead of, as you already saw in the previous episodes, we're not after these neo-Nazi kind of terrorists anymore, at least for now. And the situation for today is against these drug dealers, so new enemies for the Rainbow team. These guys are angry, as you all may expect. Unpredictable and most likely heavily armed as well. Initial reports suggest that their number should be around 30, more or less. But luckily, only few of them seem to have any kind of other training. They all seem to be unstable subjects, more like gangsters in fact. Without a proper organization, but with plenty of violence on the records, so nasty kind of stuff. Their leaders will be likely in the proximity of the hostages, overlooking them together with very strict and heavy security. We must expect some mad, I might say, and high on drugs blokes, ready to do anything, and also armed with assault rifles and also some machine guns mainly. Luckily though, we received intel regarding the exact location of all 3 hostages, so we know how many of them are there, and also the location of a sniper right next to a hostage location. So this is a great piece of news for us. We know where to not go, essentially. In other news, the crisis at the main dock of Bergen was solved thanks to our intervention, to be honest, and the help of the local police forces. No serious damage was done to the infrastructure of the port or to the ships in the harbor, which hosted a nasty firefight between the intruders, the terrorists, and the Rainbow units, which ultimately managed to disarm all explosive devices on site and secure the area. Team Rainbow managed also to solve this difficult situation. Remember, we were in a very difficult area, a very difficult scenario. If you haven't seen the episode, the fourth episode of this series, go watch it because it's very good. Yeah, so Team Rainbow managed to solve this difficult situation regardless of the area in which they were, regardless of the difficulty of clearing a harbor, because it's not easy, believe me, without any casualties, and enabling the port to resume its normal activities as scheduled. So everyone wins, essentially. Of course, our objectives are to rescue the hostages. This time we know that there are 3 of them, and we also know where they are, so this is key for us. And of course we must neutralize all terrorists, because we cannot let go these drug dealers. They are very dangerous, as we already said, and we cannot permit that. So let's load up our plan for today. Okay, you can see that this time I went with the full squad, essentially. I went with the 4-2-2 formation. The reason is because in this mission I must be there in several different places simultaneously. So I need all 3 teams, and my team especially needs more operators because we are going to clear the most difficult part. So yeah, I need more security for my team, and the other 2 teams will be just fine, essentially. Regarding the loadouts, you will see that more or less I went with assault rifles only, even though, like in this case, I've inserted a couple of SMGs and shotguns, because as you will see in the planning, these 2 teams, green and gold, will go in more close quarters combat type of scenarios, so shotguns and SMGs are just fine for them. Today we're going to use McCallum Roger. For the loadout that I've chosen, I went with medium armor first of all, urban camo. Initially I wanted to go with the 10 camo, the like desertic quote-unquote camo, but then I realized that the urban camo is way more effective. And also medium armor because we need protection, of course. Again, we are going against drug dealers with assault rifles and SMGs, so I must be protected a bit. And at the same time, I need to be quick because there are hostages, and especially considering that we are going without silencers, we must be quick and especially very effective in our shooting. Regarding the weapon of choice, I've chosen to go with the HK416, which is one of my favorites. Initially I wanted to go with the M4A1 URGI, which is another very good option. Although I realized that in close quarters it's better to use a shorter weapon as the HK, and also the sheer burst, the sheer stopping power of the HK416 is better at close quarters. So it's easier to handle, has very good accuracy, good damage, especially at close quarters it's really devastating. And especially for this reason I went with the Romeo 4 aim point sight, which is very good at close range. But again, it has the advantage over the T1 because it's a little bit more suited for longer ranges, and this will become very apparent in the mission. So initially I wanted to go with the ACOG, but especially in the latter part of the mission it's not really that well suited. So Romeo 4 it is, aim point it is. For the secondary I went with the USP 45. It was my very first choice because the 45 ACP is very dangerous against terrorists, has very good stopping power, it's nice to handle, and yeah, generally it's really reliable, so it was my first choice. Regarding the gadgets though, I decided to go with breaching charges this time because there will be at least two key doors that I must breach in order to save the hostages. So the advantage for bringing breaching charges in spite of grenades is that breaching charges not only, of course, destroy the door in which they are applied in, but they also stun everyone behind that door. So once I place a breaching charge on a door and they blow it, if someone is very close to the door, it will die. It will die, of course. But if someone else is a little bit farther away, he will get stunned by the explosion because it's like much like a ship charge. So the explosion all goes in one direction, and everything in its path will be either killed or stunned. So this is perfect for this scenario and to save hostages as well. And for the secondary gadget, I went with smoke grenades because in a couple of points we need to do some quite risky movements. Like, for example, there are some, especially in the airport area that we'll see later, we must have a bit of concealment to move, and smoke grenades will provide just that. So it's a very good choice. Again, I will be in control of red team. Again, this is my team. We'll see again that I went with assault rifles and SMGs. Green team with a shotty and with an SMG. Gold team with an AR and an SMG as well. So very close quarters type of man. But we must not forget that especially at the airport area, some ranged movement. So that's why there are so many ARs, especially in my team. Okay, so let's go to the planning room. Don't worry, it's way easier than this. See. So let's start by saying that our team, red team, will go left upon spawning, and once here, we'll infiltrate inside this garage and plant smoke grenade here. As I said before, there are a couple of spots which are very dangerous, so we need concealment. Go up the stairs, and this is the first room for the hostages. Let me just, yeah, this one is the first room of the hostages. So we must plant a breaching charge here and clean this room. Then we will escort the hostage to the safe area here. And as we do that, of course, green and gold with the go code Alpha will also storm the building, the garage, sorry, and basically clean the bottom floor, the ground floor for us. So as we save the hostages, green and gold will just clear the whole area. So we will just need to focus on saving the hostages. So that's an advantage for us. Then we will all proceed north. Here, gold will wait for Bravo in this hangar, and green will wait here for us, because here we must throw actually our second smoke grenade, because here we know that there is a sniper. So this sniper will cover this whole line of sight. So we must create some concealment, kill the sniper as soon as possible, then advance. Once here, we can tell green to move along with us, and as green clears these rooms next to the hangar, we will instead proceed to the main building, the terminal of the airport, which is the main building. So as green clears this area, and also gold will also enter from the bottom of the hangar and just clear this whole ground floor. We will instead do the risky job and breach the second door here, and basically establish a stable line of sight on all this long corridor that you can see here. So our job is to breach in and clear this whole area here, as you can see. This area is very dangerous, it's full of terrorists, as we know, so our job will be quite risky. After clearing the ground floor, we must go up the stairs and essentially very quietly, because here is the second key room which we must reach, very quietly plant a breaching charge here and wait for green. Green, what will green do? Green, as we said, will clear these rooms next to the hangar, and then they will reunite with us, as you can see here, and wait for Charlie with us. Gold, at the same time, will just sweep the ground floor of the hangar, reunite with us, and then hold this position of Charlie. So as red and green focus on assaulting the last room, gold will just well, not spectate, because we're not really that, but we'll just hold this position and cover this whole ground floor area. Then this is the key area. Once Goku Charlie is given, both red and green will storm in, clear this area as soon as possible, and retrieve the hostages. Then our job is to cover green, because green will just cover the hostages and wait for us to do our job. Our job, in fact, is to go outside, and here is the second sniper, the one that I mentioned before, which we know where he is. Sorry. We must kill the sniper and secure the area by standing on the back. So it seems a bit difficult to explain, but in reality it's really not. You will see in the mission. Speaking of which, you can see again the summary of our teams. I'm gonna be McCallum, Roger, team leader of Red Team. And yeah, let's do this, boys. Let's save those hostages and clean the airport from those drug dealers. Let's go.
There's not a lot of cover on the tarmac, so when you move quickly.
Green, waiting for Alpha. Gold, waiting for Alpha. Hold position.
Holding.
Hostile down. Fall in.
With you, sir.
Move out.
Let's go. Move, move, move.
Status reporting. Green, waiting for Alpha. Gold, waiting for Alpha. Go, go, go! On Zulu.
I'm on it.
Alpha, go, go, go!
Tango down.
Hurry up! Follow me. You are good. Right? Reform on me.
In formation.
Go, go, go!
Move out.
Gold milestone 1 secured. Hostage secured. Fall in.
With you, sir.
Gold waiting for Bravo. Hold up.
Holding position.
Reform on me.
In formation.
Hold position. Threat down.
Contact. Neutralized.
Threat neutralized. Fall in.
On the way. With you, sir.
Alpha, go! Hold up.
Holding position.
Move out. On Zulu.
Yes, sir.
Status. Green, moving. Gold, waiting for Bravo. Green, waiting for Bravo. Zulu, go!
I'm on it.
Reform on me.
In formation.
Tango, down. Hold position.
Holding. Contact. Tango down.
Threat down. Status report. Green, waiting for Bravo. Gold, waiting for Bravo. Bravo, go! Open, flash, and clear.
Yes, sir.
Green, milestone 1 secured. Threat neutralized.
Clear.
Gold, milestone 2 secured. Fall in.
Coming to you. With you, sir.
Status. Green, moving. Go, moving. Move out.
Let's go. Move, move, move.
Go, waiting for Charlie. Status report. Green, moving. Go, waiting for Charlie. Green, releasing explosives. Green, explosives ready. Green, waiting for Charlie. Go, go, go! On Zulu.
Right away, sir.
Go, go, go!
Eliminated.
Green, mouse number 3, secure. Green, escorting. Green, escorting precious cargo. Gold, mouse number 3, secure. Reform on me.
In formation.
Go, go, go! Contact.
Move out.
Press down. Hold up.
Holding position.
Reform on me.
With you, sir.
Red signal. Hold position.
Holding.
Fall in.
In formation.
Mission completed.
Well done.